Hey everybody, I have a fun video to do today. I was going through some of my stuff in my bedroom, clearing it out, and I ran across some of my first makeup that I ever had. And my mom was a Mary Kay consultant, so a lot of it is Mary Kay makeup, but there is a lot of other stuff like Wet n Wild and L'Oreal and different things. But I just thought it would be fun to go through and just see what I have and see if you remember anything. And I guess you can call this vintage makeup because some of it's probably 30 years old. So some of it was my mom's first. So who knows how old it is? I don't know. But I thought it might be fun to do a video and kind of see how things have changed. So let's start with the first compact mirror I ever had was this one. And it has a little light up here when the batteries are in it. And that was my first compact mirror. I carried this around with me in my purse everywhere I went. And it came with a matching powder brush that was a travel powder brush that I also carried with me. And the little cap comes off and you just push it up. But that was the first powder brush I had. And this video might be a little long. I'm sorry if it is, but I'm having fun. I hope you are too. And then for powder, I love to use the Palladio rice powder. And I recently actually saw this in Sally's, so they do still make this. And it looks like this. And it's just a cake powder and very white. And this one actually is still good. But I don't know if it ever goes bad, really. Basically, it's talc. That's pretty much about all it is. Well, it's calcium, carbonate, and talc and fragrance. That's all it is. But that was like my holy grail powder back when I was in high school. Another powder that I like to use a lot was this Shine Free, and it is by Maybelline. And I don't know how many of you actually remember these compacts. And I also use the Shine Free by Maybelline, the loose powder. And there's still quite a bit in there. And I wonder if it's still usable. If it's still usable, let me know, because I will use it if it is. I know my lipsticks aren't usable because they're all dried out. And then I also had the rice paper powders, which they were just like blotting powders that you would tear out and blot on your skin to absorb any oil that you had on your skin. And then the main concealer I used was this Maybelline Shine Free concealer, and I don't have the cap for it anymore. But that was the main concealer I used. And then here is a Clinique blush, and it is a powder blush. And I remember using this when I was elementary school age, very, very young. I remember wearing this blush and playing makeup with this blush. And then one of the oldest eyeshadows that I have is this little purple one, and it is by, I don't know who it's by. It doesn't say who it's by. It's just Color Perfect eyeshadow in Perfect Lilac. But as you can tell, I used a lot of this when I was little. And then I had these two eyeshadow compacts, little palettes. Had that one and that one. And these are actually pretty good colors for today. So these are actually, I was already in the right shades. My first actual really big eyeshadow palette was this one from Victoria's Secret. And it has a lot of colors. It's not great eyeshadow or anything. It's very powdery, it's not much pigmentation, but it was fun to have, and I used it quite a bit, especially some of the neutral colors. But I can tell I used every single color in here at one point or another, except maybe the orange. But that was my first eyeshadow palette that I had fun with and played with. And then I also had, and this is in Plum Pale, it's by Helena Rubinstein, Minute Shiny Eyelet. And it's a cream eyeshadow. It doesn't smell the way I remember it smelling, probably because it's old, but that's the color. And this is what it looks like, if any of you have seen this. I don't know if this will bring back memories for anybody or not. Then a lipstick holder I had a bunch of these too. And you can still use them because these are still in really good condition, but it's this little one from Mary Kay. And it just pops open and you've got a little mirror, and then you've got a place for your makeup, for your lipstick. And that's perfect for purse size. And then this Lip Smacker Vanilla was one of my first lip glosses, and it's a pot of gloss is what it's called, Vanilla Vibes. And I love this stuff. And somewhere around here I actually have my first lip gloss, but I'll have to find that in a minute. I'm just kind of going through the stuff as I get to it. And the next thing is a Mary Kay Compact. And you probably remember these. And they originally didn't have stick lipstick. They had them in these little palettes and these little squares. And this one I think was called Pink Ice. And this was my favorite color growing up. And there's a demo Mary Kay lip brush in here, because I always prefer to use lip brushes over sticks anyway. I still do. But that was some of my first lipsticks. One of my first neat little things of lipstick was this from Mary Kay. And it has 5 colors and then a gold intensity controller and a lip gloss. And there you go, if you can see that. And all their lip gloss smelled like strawberries, which is something I remember and liked. And then I had a lot of lipsticks in here. Like here's the lip color concentrate from Mary Kay. This is an acrylic lipstick holder for round lipsticks that has a lot of Clinique in it and has some Mary Kay and even a blue lipstick. And these are just all different colors. Like this one is in Dusty Rose. As you can see, I use my makeup down to where there's pretty much nothing left, and then I take a brush and get the rest out. But like that's one of the colors that I used to wear. And I used to wear a lot of bright colors, a lot of dark colors, then also a lot, you know, some neutral colors like this one. But then I had dark colors like this, which was one of my favorite, and I think it's Cranberry Glaze. And I remember this is like one of the best red lipsticks ever, that at least I thought it was. And a lot of these had little stickers you could put on the top or bottom of them so you could identify the color. And then like I had bright pink, and I had all sorts of colors of lipsticks. I mean, all different brands. You can see there's a lot of different brands in here. And then I also have some other lipsticks. This is something from Mary Kay. It looks kind of like an eyeliner, but this is actually a lipstick. And it's like a lip stain, I think. But I remember they had these for a little while. And then I had some lipsticks like this one in the long tube, and let's see if I can tell who it's by. I can't read it, it's too small. Here are 2 of my favorite lipsticks. This is one from NYC. And then here's one from Wet n Wild. So this is what Wet n Wild used to look like. And as you can tell, I used a good bit of this lipstick. I used to have a purple one, but I don't know where it is. And then, of course, I had to have my Pink Lemonade Lip Smacker Lip Balm. And then I also have a Naturistics Vanilla, naturally flavored vanilla lip gloss. And This is one of my first lip glosses. This is a Mary Kay Strawberry Lip Gloss, and it's clear. And one of my favorite Mary Kay lip glosses that they had when I was growing up was this one. On one side it's silver, and then on the other side it's hot pink. So you mix the two together. And I used to have so much fun with this. And I'm not seeing that first lip gloss that I had. Oh well, if I don't... You saw some of my first ones. And then of course, everybody probably remembers these little Avon samples of lipsticks. And I had tons of these, and I love these things. But that's some of my lipsticks. And then this is the first makeup case I ever had. It's a Kit and Caboodle. For those of you that remember Kit and Caboodle, I had a lot of Kit and Caboodle stuff. And it just looks like a tackle box, basically. And I'm not sure what I have in here. But, let's see. There's not a whole lot in here. I do have a couple Clinique blush brushes. Some hair rubber bands. Some eye pencils that I use a lot. This is the Mary Kay one in Amethyst. And so it's purple. And this is a Clinique eye shading pencil in pewter. And then like I use some of this stuff down to practically nothing. So I really did use it. And then this I think is a brow pencil. And this was had been my mom's, and then I think she gave it to me to play with. And it's in brown. But I used to use that a good bit. And then Mary Kay had the best lip samples. The lip liner samples and eyeliner samples. They look like this. And you could actually use them all the way down. So you really didn't have to buy them then. Now you do, because the samples are so different. But these were actually really good samples. And then let's see what I have underneath it. I have a really old Lip Quencher lipstick in Russet Snow. And there's that. Have no idea what brand it is, but it's in a metal tube, so I'm guessing it's kind of an expensive brand. And then I remember using this CoverGirl blusher so much. I don't know why now, because I don't really care for the colors too much, but I used to use this a lot. I went through so many of these growing up. Yeah, let's see if I can get that back on. There we go. And this is a really old Mary Kay compact, earlier than what those others were. And those are a couple blushers, and those are very old blushers. And here's some interesting CoverGirl colors for eyeshadow. Nice and bright. Of course, nothing like any of the stuff that we have now. At least not in quality. And here's a very, very old compact that has Mary Kay lipsticks, and it has eyeshadows, and it looks like you had to use these eyeshadows wet. But it's very messy. And this was probably originally my mom's, I'm guessing. Probably a lot of this stuff was my mom's, and then she gave it to me. Here's some very nice bright colors from, they're Blooming colors, and they're from Maybelline. And then I have a CoverGirl powder with a little powder puff thing down in there. And I have several CoverGirl eyeshadows. Got that one, got that one, and that one. My guess is my mom would give me some of her old makeup when she would use the colors she liked to play with and use myself, because I used to play with that stuff all the time. And then one of my favorite things growing up was this big old compact from Mary Kay. You could put so much stuff in it. And it's not full, but it has places for pencils and brushes, and it has some of the two-toned eyeshadows. There's a 4-color eyeshadow. Let's see if I can hold that up without dumping anything out. But you can see the two-toned eyeshadow up here, and then the 4 one, I think it's an exotic or something, because I really liked those darker colors. Now these were all personally mine, and as you can tell, I used them up. So anyway, that is my little travel back in time looking at my old makeup. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.